Hello guys, we are here in the niche locals hidden city pit with our 2 time in a row locals champion George. So George is gonna give us his deck profiles. He played the best deck and then PK, what was it? PK Burning Abyss, right? So he's gonna give us his deck profile. So you can go. I guess you can start with the profile, Mish.
Yeah, this is the best deck. It's not PKs, it's actually Mutants. So it has a 100% win rate on locals so far. So let's get started and I'll explain all the cards, what they do and why I play this mutant ratio. So for the monsters, triple M05, this is this and ST, which is the next card. They essentially do the same thing on normal or special summon. They search, DM searches a monster from your deck, a mutant monster, and ST searches a spell and trap. And then they share the same effect where they on field banish a card that is face up on the field or in your hand, and then depending on which card you banish, like what type, monster, spell and trap, they special summon a big mutant from your hand or deck. So for monster it's beast, for spell it's mist, and for trap it's arsenal. So let's get into those. So here are the three. So right off the bat, beast is the best one. Essentially, they all have share the same ability where they can't be targeted by the thing that they banish. So for beast, you banish a monster, he can't be targeted by monster effects. Arsenal, you banish a trap to summon him, so he can't be targeted by traps and mist spells. So beast is by far the best one. He negates spell cards and effects. So each of them can interact with a certain card. Beast spell, Arsenal monster effect, and mist is trap. He is the worst one. And the third effect is when they're destroyed, either rebel or card effect, they recycle a banished card that is face up. So beast negates a spell card and effect by banishing either himself or a card in your hand or face up from your field. So that's really good because you have a spell negate. Arsenal is a little weaker, but he has a 3k attack. Arsenal does when your opponent activates a monster effect, you get to do the same thing, either banish a card from your face up from the side of the field or hand, and then you banish a face up monster. It doesn't negate the effect, but it banishes the monster, so it's really good to chain this into a DP, because DP, unless you're playing against a hero deck, only loses 400 attacks, so DP can't get around it. And if he activates the effect, you just chain this and you banish the DP.
It's gone forever.
Yeah, it's gone forever, exactly. And mist is by far the worst one. It can't be targeted by spells. When your opponent activates a trap card, you get to draw 2 cards and banish one or discard one, I'm not sure.
Doesn't even know what his cards do.
Like, it's literally useless. It's literally useless, but it recycles the best thing, which is monster, which is the thing that you have face up in your banish pile. It was actually good in the Sky Striker matchup because all of his spells target, so when you summon this, it's probably a free win.
It's hard to out.
Yes, it's hard to out, so it's only good in that certain scenario, but you need to play all 3. I saw people play 2 Beast and 1 Arsenal. I know why they do it, because Beast is by far the best one, but with Emergency Teleport going to 3, sometimes you want to see this because you have a field that is sitting in your hand and you want as many different names as possible, and it can sometimes it's better just to put out anything on your side of the field than just to put out nothing. So that's why I play all 3 of them. So that's it for the mutant monsters. Next is...
Wait. No Battle of Chaos support? What?
No, unfortunately, I didn't order any. But
Yeah,
I will experiment with the mutant. So 3D Shifter. This is a really good card. It doesn't hinder your deck at all. It's actually beneficial to you because it turns off a lot of hand traps. And it really deters your opponent from playing, so it's an auto include in your deck. Yeah, and that's it for the monsters. What is that, like 12? I think. Yes,
I
12.
suppose, yeah, it should be 12.
Yeah, so now we go to the spells. Best card in the deck, Emergency Teleport. This plus any of your mutants, small mutants, is full combo. I mean, you can call it full combo, I guess.
Full needle fiber combo,
yeah,
right?
Full combo is 2 large mutants on your side of the field with just 2 cards. So the inherent problem with this deck is that the small mutants cause you to neg 1 in advantage, but they gain you a +1 or a neutral when they are destroyed, and that's why they're designed this way. The small mutants give you a plus, but this card is really good because it allows you to play through hand trips. For example, if you get impermed or veilered on the small mutants, it really hurts because it turns off both of their effects, while Ash only turns off one. And while it does suck that you Ash the second effect because you neg 1, this card allows you to play through them. So Teleport to 3, really good for this deck. Next up, this is a proxy. My friend lent me 3 Extravagance, so this is Extravagance. The reason why you don't play Pot of Prosperity in this deck is because you need the pluses in this deck, and the only bad side to Extravagance is that you banish your deck face down, extra deck face down. So sometimes that can screw you over, but it's 1 in 6 games. If you banish all 3 of your small fusions, then you're kinda fucked, because you need to rely only on large mutants to win. Sometimes that's enough, but most of the times you at least want to see one fusion in your fusion deck because you really need it. So Extravagance is really good because of the plus, and if Extravagance had the effect of banishing face down, but you select the cards, then it will be broken in this deck. So that's why I play Extravagance. Next up, double field spell and 1 terraforming. In Master Duel I play 3 because this is an ultra for some reason. You can play 3 if you want, but this deck thins, so that's why I play 2. It's a really good card. It extends your plays if you get Veilered or Ashland by your small mutants and you have another play in your hand. You get to banish a small mutant in your hand, and then you get to special summon the one that you banished with this effect. So on activation, it special summons 1 from your hand or banished pile, small ones. All mutants on your field gain 100 attack for each different banished card. So sometimes that adds up. It allows you to get over some things. And the third effect is you can mulligan one of your big mutants. Usually you can do it also with the small ones to draw 1 card.
Cosmotown.
Yeah, small Cosmotown.
Yeah.
Small Cosmotown.
Returns from Banish Mulligans, yeah.
One of the one-offs, Dimensional Fissure, saw it 0 times, but once you see it, it's really good because, like Shifter, it deters a lot of decks. Called by the Grave because it's called by the Grave. Mutant Fusion, a one-off. I saw people cut this. I don't recommend it. It's a really good card. It's like a bad Shadow Fusion, but it can't get ashed because if your opponent activated a card on effect, you banish cards from your hand, field, or deck if your opponent activated, so they can't dash it because you banish cards. So it's really good, and you get to recycle it to summon your fusions. And the last one of his Peer Erase map, I saw this 0 times. I cited it out almost always because people go into time because they play combo decks and your turn ends in like 2 minutes. So it's a good card. It can only search M05 because M05 has 0 attack and the ST has 500. So yeah, I would cut this for the Mutant and see how it gets because, I don't know, I want to test it out. That's it for the spells. For the traps, Triple Cry. This is probably the best mutant trap. It allows you to fusion summon during the main phase, either yours or your opponent's. And it shuffles into the deck from the graveyard, from the banished, or from the field. So it's really good, and I'll show what it summons next. For the last mutant cards, we have expansion. On activation, it summons a small mutant from your deck or adds it to your hand. And the continuous effect is literally bailings. If a large mutant would die by a card effect, you can sacrifice this card instead. So if it were banished, that would be really broken, but it's not, so you just sacrifice it. Triple, there can be only 1. Really good card. It doesn't deter you. Technically, this deck can play all 3. Because the fusions are psychic and water, and all of these are different attributes. Mist is wind, so Mist would out back in the day the barrier statue. Arsenal is fire machine, and Mutant is beast earth, so you can play really good like this. So this is really good card.
Preach loves that card.
Preach loves this card. Shout out
Yeah.
to Preach, by the way. Triple Imperm, just a solid card all around. I wouldn't cut this. I wouldn't recommend playing Effect Veiler. I recommend this because
You can't even Veiler under Shifter or
Yeah,
Die-Fi.
yeah, so it's a really good card. It's a normal trap because of Trap Trick, which I'll show next. Oh yeah, it's Torrential. Torrential is next. All around a pretty solid card. It blows out. It won me a game against who was it? Against Sky Striker. The guy
Weird.
The guy used up his Ray, and I just torrentialed the Shizuku that he summoned. Then from that on, he couldn't play. So that yeah, one Trap Trick. I used to play two, but now since I added an additional E-Tele in the deck, I needed to cut a few cards. So Trap Trick was one of them. You don't really need to because sometimes it bricks. I only saw this once and I always sided it out. So it's a good card, but I always side it out. Macrocosmos, I never saw it. I always side it when I go second. There's nothing much to say. The same like the Fisher. And probably the best card as far as traps, Solemn Strike. I play two and one in the side. This is a really good card. It won me my semifinals match. So the reason I play two is because I don't want to see it that much, and when I know that I'm going to go first, I always side in the third one. So it's a good card going first and going second because you can chain it, and I'll explain how I won those games later. So let's go into the extra deck. The best card in the extra deck is Mutant Synthesis. Mutant Synthesis requires a small mutant and a large mutant because they're different attributes. On summon, it destroys a card on the field. The second effect is it can chain itself to an effect that your opponent activates, and then it becomes unaffected for that specific effect, so spell, monster, and trap. And the third effect is when it's destroyed, it has a superior effect where it adds you a card from the banish pile, but you get to choose, so either monster, spell, or trap. It's a really good card. If you banish all three, you're probably losing that game, but you have to take that risk. Now for the less powerful mutant, it's Mutant Ultimus. He's not less powerful because of the effect, more so because of his summoning condition. He requires 3 level 8 or higher mutants. If you know what Invoked Mechaba does, this is a Mechaba on steroids. So when your opponent activates a card on effect, you get to banish the same type of cards from your hand or graveyard, and it negates and banishes. And if it is destroyed, you get to recycle all 3 of each type from your banish pile. So it's really good. When you summon this, you win the game. If you don't, then I don't know what you're doing. You have to play 3 because of extravagance. Either you play 1. Now for the extra super poly targets, we have Muddy Muddragon. Never went into this. Never went into this. You can play anything you want. This is for Cyber's decks. This is for Dark decks, mostly for Dragon Link. So you can play pretty much anything for the rest of the extra deck except for 1 card. One Almirage. This is the 1 card that I wouldn't recommend you cut because sometimes it allows you to sack a small mutant to protect one of your big mutants if you need to, or to set up a play where you need the mutant in your graveyard. So this is an essential card in the extra deck. 1 Sheep, cuttable. You can go into it 1 in 10 games, but cuttable, like I said. And the rest of the extra deck is also up for debate. You can play more instant super poly targets if you want, but it's up to you really. And this is for the fucking players in Master Duel that summon the freaking Chaos Max. This deck can't out Chaos Max, so this is for Chaos Max.
He doesn't play Chaos Max.
Nobody plays Chaos Max. Yeah, fuck Chaos Max. Yeah, so for the side, the third strike, like I explained, when you go first, you always side this in. Triple super poly for the super poly targets, triple evenly matched, really good card. You can set it up with Trap Trick if you want. But
broken at locals.
yeah, this card is broken at locals. I didn't play it for like 4 locals or maybe more. Now it's back. Really good card. It won me a game against DDD. I just called Fusion. I called Fusion and he couldn't play. Gamma Seal, because it's Gamma Seal and it's more for those Towers-esque cards, and Chaos Max. Fuck you, Chaos
Yeah,
Max.
because you can't really out those with the small mutants. And,
Yeah.
like, the big ones even have like not too much tax. You really need to pay.
Yeah, the biggest one is Arsenal with 3k.
Game kill.
Yeah, Triple Lightning Storm, never saw this, sided it once. And Harpy's Feather Duster, never sided it in because I wasn't playing that much against backrow decks. My matchups were game 1, I got a bye because we were odd. Game 2, I lost to Paleo Frog featuring DPE, so my opponent sacked me because he drew Fusion Destiny every time, hard drew it. He couldn't summon Anaconda in any other way, so he had to draw it. And both games, there's a rule with this deck: if you open 2 large mutants, you're not winning that game. There is like very low % chance you're winning that game, and I just happened to draw 2 large mutants. I draw the field spell, but he destroyed the field spell on activation, and you don't get to mulligan or summon a small mutant, so I lost that game. I was really salty, but it is what it is. Round 3, I was against Sky Striker. I 2-0'd him. There was not much to say. He didn't know how my cards worked. He didn't know that for you banish the small mutant plus a card. You tribute the small mutant and you banish a card for cost. He thought he could video anchor the card, but no, that's not how it works. So the one time the neg actually was good for you. And round 4 was against Mathmech. Yeah, I won that game 2-0. I sacked my opponent by drawing their Chameleon 1, and he didn't have the outs. So yeah, that was game 1. And game 2, he opened poorly, and I just OTK'd him. Semi-finals was against DDD. I don't know who won the die roll, but I know that I drew horribly game 1, and I lost. Game 2, I played first. And I remember the play where I set up a pretty okay field. We were going like this back and forth. He was on two cards, so it was my turn. I didn't have a large mutant on the field, but I summoned one of the smaller ones. I don't know if it's M05 or ST. And he was like, "Okay, I'm gonna chain Lancia, so you can't do anything." And then I said, "Okay, I'm gonna chain Strike," and Strike stopped him, and I was able to play, summon a big mutant, and go for the push. So that was really good. And game 3, I drew. What did I draw? I drew my hand traps, my evenly matched, and my impermanence, and that was enough to stop him from playing. So yeah, and in the finals, I was against Salamangreat, and I won that game. Yeah, those were my matchups. Like I said, best deck, 100% win rate for topping locals. You really can't waste your negates. You really need to know how to play with this deck and to know how your opponent plays, because you don't have that many negates and you need to place them well in order to win, like any control deck.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. So shout out to the niche local community.
Best locals
community. Yeah, and shout out to Preach. I love you.